I did not go to college because by the time I was 16, I had my son. And my parents split up when I was about 14 years old. And I watched my parents go through a very rough patch. I watched my dad go through depression because at first he lost his marriage and then he lost his mother. And my dad started dating women that were addicted to drugs. And my environment changed like very fast right before my eyes because, you know, in DC during these times, once a person is addicted to drugs, then their friends are addicted to drugs. And if they live with you, your house turns literally into a drug-infested environment. So I think that was my biggest motivation, was getting out of there and getting my son out of there and doing something different and getting my son in a different type of environment.
You gonna learn today.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Are you ready?
This ain't the radio.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
The Street Report Podcast.
He raps for the DMV to the fullest.
Hosted by Easy.
Mr. President.
It is great to talk to you.
Raw and uncut.
I'll let you boys, it's Jay-Z.
DJ Khaled.
What up, though? It's your boy, Big Snoop, D-O-double-G. Rocking out with my nephew, Easy Street.
Easy Street.
The Street Report Podcast, hosted by Easy.
Okay, world, thank you so much for tuning in to the Easy Street Report Podcast. A little something I started last year. Hey, 2018, more shows, more stories, more for the 2018 and beyond. Trust me on that. Hey, listen, want to remind you now, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, at Easy Street, on Instagram, at Easy Street, also on Twitter and the gram, my company's Sia Multimedia, that's CYA Multimedia, and also at DMV DJ Service on the gram and Twitter as well. On today's podcast, a very powerful and inspiring story from a young lady right here from the DMV area, from Northeast to be exact. This story includes drugs, divorce, being terminated from a job, then to become one of the DMV's top young entrepreneurs in our area who's doing some serious work worldwide. You've got to hear her story, and make sure you share it with friends, okay? If you're somebody that thought about opening your own business, or you just started your own business, or maybe you already have a business and you need some motivation, well, this is the podcast for you. All right, we are joined by branding and marketing strategist, the girl CEO, Ronne Brown. How are you?
I'm absolutely amazing, Easy. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for your time. Now, we came here to the Hall of Fame spot out here in Brandywine, Maryland. A couple of weeks ago, you had an event called Connect, and you invited me to come out. I wasn't all prepared to speak, but you asked me to speak, and, you know, we were here with a rack of people. I was very impressed. The fact that you had so many people that were not from this area to drive out here to talk about entrepreneurship, and so that's what kind of brought me here today, to want to be able to talk to you, to talk about the phenomena of the girl CEO.
You know, I was super excited about that event, and I honestly felt like that was something that was needed in the community. You know, often I go to events, and I feel like you have to spend hundreds of dollars just to go out and network, and I wanted to get back to the basis of things where just people can come together and connect and get each other's phone numbers, talk about what they do, and get around other people that are kind of in the same wave that they're in. It's a little difficult being an entrepreneur these days, having people understand you and get your grind and get your mission and all that good stuff. So I think it was an amazing event.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about your humble beginnings. Where are you from?
I am from Washington, D.C., Northeast D.C., Orleans Street.
Okay. All right.
I went to Dunbar Senior High School, so I graduated from Dunbar. So those are my stomping grounds.
Okay. So now, how did you get started in business in the first place? Because you're doing some incredible things. You have Lux for Brunch, then you also, the Girl CEO.
Brand.
You have like a rack of followers on Instagram. It's like a cult following, and people love you.
So I think that I started from the bottom, of course. My story is not the best story out there, where you just kind of inherit wealth and your family passes this opportunity down to you. For me, you know, growing up in DC was definitely different. I did not go to college because by the time I was 16, I had my son. And my parents split up when I was about 14 years old. And I watched my parents go through a very rough patch. I watched my dad go through depression because at first he lost his marriage and then he lost his mother. And my dad started dating women that were addicted to drugs. And my environment changed like very fast right before my eyes because, in DC during these times, once a person is addicted to drugs, then their friends are addicted to drugs. And if they live with you, your house turns literally into a drug-infested environment. So I think that was my biggest motivation, was getting out of there and getting my son out of there and doing something different and getting my son in a different type of environment. So when people ask me, like, what was your why? My why was to get my child out of that environment, but also create something for him so he could be knowledgeable and he could be successful, because everyone was already telling me, like, girl, you had a kid at 16, like, your life is over, So that was my biggest source of motivation, and I started to look at what was around me. There were a lot of guys in the streets doing the wrong things, and my first question was, how can I take what I see them doing and turn it into something positive?
So you're a photographer. You make negatives into positives, right?
Yes, but that's how you have to do it. So I looked, at them, and I had relationships with those guys. What people don't understand is when you don't have the tools and when you don't have the connections and when you don't have the knowledge, some people make bad choices. And it's not because they're bad people. It's because they have the lack of knowledge and the lack of tools to do the things that they really want to do. And that was another one of the things that really motivated me to not only learn entrepreneurship, but be able to go back into my community and educate other people on, this is how you do it. You don't have to do it this way. There's another way. And here are the tools that you need so you can get your start.
Now, when we were here at the HOF, the Hall of Fame joint, you told a story about how you would be out in the street marketing and selling things on the street. And that was kind of part of your beginning, too. Talk about that.
Yeah, I had lost my job. And I think the biggest thing that I remember is getting fired and getting on my knees and begging this lady for my job back. I will never forget this. I worked at Kaiser Permanente. I worked in the call center. I was pregnant with my second kid, all right, at 19. And I was 2 minutes late, and she fired me. And because I was pregnant, I got on my knees. I begged her for my job. She told me that she would give me another chance because it was holidays. It was Christmas. Wow. And she told me that she would let me keep my job, and I worked the whole day. And at the end of the day, she called me in the office and she told me that she was not going to be able to allow me to continue to work, and she had to change her mind. I went home. I was broke as a joke, easy. Okay, when I say broke, I mean I had about $100, $200 to my name, and I was waiting for them to approve my unemployment. You know how they have to say, like, yeah, we're going to give you this unemployment check? Right. I was waiting for that. All right. And I got to work. I started making cosmetics in my home. I started making candles in my house, and I started posting them on Facebook. This is when Facebook was the only thing, right? Instagram wasn't out then. It was just Facebook. This was 2008, 2009. And I started bagging that stuff up, putting it in the car, going out in the parking lot, passing out flyers, talking to people. I remember my friends being in the club.
You used to be at the club in the parking lot. Which club was you at? I think I saw you out there in front of Ibiza before.
Do you remember the night we were out in front of Ibiza? Yes, I was at all the clubs, all the let-outs. I wasn't there for fun. People don't realize I was out there selling a product, because if I didn't sell that product, I could not feed my kids. So I was out there attempting to survive. And I believe that all of that hustle, talking to people, passing out those flyers, giving people your flyer and throwing them on the ground. People would throw them on the ground right in your face. It was preparation for my next level.
Wow, amazing. So now, I noticed when we were here for your event that you teach from an inspirational standpoint. You inspire people on another level that I haven't seen before. I mean, I've seen, other entrepreneurs come on stage and give their, their testimony or tell their tales about how they came to be. But you approach it from an inspirational standpoint. Talk about that.
Well, I think that it's important that we include the authenticity in our stories. What I see today is a lot of traditional step-by-step lessons, and I think that we need to go back to our stories. We need to talk about your car getting repossessed. You know, I tell people all the time, I didn't forget getting set out of my house with my dad. I didn't forget having to hide my car around the corner because I was in D.C. and I had $500 worth of tickets.
Uh-oh, that's me right now, y'all. That is me right now. No, really.
No, seriously. But people need to hear that to know that you aren't crazy, that you have to decide if you're going to buy some more products or you're going to let your phone bill, be late. This is the truth. This is what you go through when you're on that journey and you don't have that $50,000 loan from the bank and you're building your business. So I love to share my authentic story to allow other people to feel like, okay, I'm not going crazy, y'all. This is a part of what happens when you're on this journey and you're attempting to build something. It's not going to be easy. You're going to struggle. You're not going to know how you're going to pay your rent. There were times that I did not know how I was going to pay my rent easy. Let's talk about that. Let's tell people that. So when they're attempting to build this brand, they won't think that it's going to be all together.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably the reason why you have, I don't want to say a cult following, but you have a very strong base of individuals that follow you on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to hear these stories, to be inspired, to help them grow their businesses as well, right?
Of course, because people don't want, you can do it, keep going, keep pushing, don't give up. It's more to it than that. It's more to it than that. And we have to give people the real version of what we've gone through to really get where we are. What did you do? What were the steps? How did you sell it? How did you get people to come back? That's what we need to know.
So as far as your struggles, when you decided after you were out there passing out the flyers and then you decided that you wanted to become an entrepreneur, to own your own company, what was one of the biggest obstacles that you faced in the beginning?
Well, believe it or not, one of my biggest obstacles, Easy, was jumping in to direct sales and not really knowing how people would take it. When I first started my journey, it was in the direct sales industry, and where I grew up at and everything I knew, everyone felt like it was sleazy, it was corny, and it wasn't. But I had to take a risk to show people that there was a lesson in this. I don't focus on the company. I don't focus on what I do, and that's not even the bigger thing, but it's about getting the experience. And a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we think that we're going to jump off the porch and we're going to jump into the CEO. We're going to jump into our own brand, our own names, and all that stuff. And we have to go through the journey. So I think that was the biggest thing, doing what people frowned on and monetizing that and leveraging that, and also then learning and then going to build my brands.
So we're here with Ronne Brown. She is a branding and marketing strategist. She is the founder of CEO Girl. She's a mom, and also she has Lux for Brunch. Now, which company did you start first? Was it the Girl CEO?
Yes. So the first company.
And have I been saying that right? Is it CEO Girl or
it's
Girl
Girl CEO?
Girl CEO.
Yeah. The first company that I started was Girl CEO, and the mission behind that was to create a platform for women that are entrepreneurs that are looking. Well, let me rewind that. Not just women that are entrepreneurs, but women overall that have responsibilities. So the movement behind Girl CEO is to equip women to be the girl CEOs of their businesses, lives, and homes. A lot of people think that being a CEO is just about running a business. But as a woman, you have a lot of additional responsibilities that may not revolve around running a business. You have to run your household, especially if you're a mother. You have to run your life as a woman. We deal with a lot of things day to day. And I wanted to create a community for women where they can feel comfortable and they can be transparent on their journeys, on their struggles, but also get tools to move forward.
Mm-hmm. So you have a whole team that help you with Girl CEO, and I saw your operation that you have set up. That's in a secret location. Is amazing. Talk about your team.
So my team supports me in both Girl CEO and Lux for Brunch. Lux for Brunch is our online clothing boutique. So I have an amazing team. I have Trisha Jones, who is my personal assistant. Absolutely love her. She is managing every single thing. And can I just say that your support staff, man, you have to have people that believe in your vision. I met Trisha about 3 years ago, and she volunteered for my nonprofit organization. And when you find people like that are really about your mission, those are the people that you want to work with. So Trisha has been working with me for over 3 years now. As far as Lux for Brunch, there's Jennifer, Tyler, there is Mia Ray. They're both co-founders, and we came together as friends to do something together that we absolutely love, which was fashion. So we are so thankful for our team. We have a shipping and fulfillment warehouse in Atlanta. My boy Maddie is just a blessing. Him and Erica, they're running that, and it's just been, man, God sent.
Mm-hmm. So now, the products that you sell, talk about those.
So for Girl CEO, what we're doing is just doing inspirational things that women can wear to remind them that they are powerful. We have a sweatshirt that's kind of going viral right now. It's our Girl CEO sweatshirt, and it says, not a model, not a gold digger, but I'm a Girl CEO and I'm an entrepreneur. And that's just telling women that your business and your brand doesn't have to revolve around you being cute or looking for that rich man. Like, you can be that rich woman, and you can also have a business that is revolving around what you are actually passionate about, you know, what you love doing. Mm-hmm. And for me, Easy, my goal is to get people back to that, you know?
What is one of your top selling items that you sell at Girl CEO?
So it would be my Girl CEO planner, because I think that as we are growing and social media is happening, people are very busy. And when people are busy, they need organization. So the Girl CEO Planner is getting everybody prepared for the year. It has cool things in it, like the goals, you know, your to-do list. It has budgeting stuff.
Wow.
So everything that we would deal with as a busy woman.
Mm-hmm. So is that something that you built yourself,
Yep.
or did you have help?
Yep, that's something that I put together myself. What I did was find a solution for a problem that I battled with. Mm-hmm. So I encourage everyone that's listening to this, if you want to come out with a product, come out with something that will solve a problem that you deal with on your day, in your day-to-day life, and people will buy it. Because if it's a problem for you, then it's probably a problem for other people.
Mm-hmm. Now, I remember when we were here at the event that you had Connect with Zoe, you talked about some tools that you use for marketing as well, and you shared the technologies that you were using. And I could just tell when you said that, it kind of plays into what we're talking about with being organized and working in a systematic fashion that's working smarter.
Yeah.
Instead of harder.
Definitely.
Talk about that.
So I think that we want to have tools in place that help us be more effective. For me, my business has changed to automation, and automation is going to change the game. And if you're not automating your business, then you're going to get left behind, because you're going to be busy, you're going to be very consumed, you're going to spend a lot of time on social media, and you're not going to be able to do income-producing activities. So automation is important. Making sure that I'm being productive is important. So I found different apps and different things that I can use to speed up my day, things that can post for me, where I can set up what I'm going to post for the week. I sit down every Sunday, Easy, and I think about, what am I going to put out there for my community that they can grow from? What type of content and wisdom, and what can I tell them about my journey that can impact them? So I set that up, and I use apps. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm using Voxer to communicate with my team. GroupMe. I'm using things like iFax, auto sign, auto post, all these different things to automate my business so I can focus on income producing activities.
Wow, and that's really smart, because I think sometimes when people start a business or a company, they don't understand the importance of delegating, and you delegate to apps.
and people, yes.
And people. Yep. So don't just delegate just to people, but you can delegate some of that work to the apps too.
And Easy, I just want to stress this, because what you just said was a good point. You have to delegate. Mm-hmm. And I think that when we're growing our businesses, it's our baby, right? So you don't want to have other people
I don't want to let go.
Yes.
No, this is my vision.
It's a big mistake.
Right.
It's a big mistake. So don't be afraid to delegate and teach people what you know. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, they fear delegating things, because they think if they teach people what they know, they'll run off with their stuff, and it's just not that. Like, what's for you is for you. Like, God has your portion set aside. So teach people so you can be more effective and efficient in other areas and get out there and grow your business.
And it's all about that reaping and sowing too.
Yes.
I mean, planting those seeds in other
Yes.
individuals and helping them be able to grow, because it's going to come back to you
Exactly.
anyways. So talk about Lux for Brunch. What is that?
So Lux for Brunch is the thing that I love. You know, you get to a certain age and you kind of go through that midlife crisis easy, and you start asking yourself, like, am I doing what I love, right? Am I really doing what I love? And I've always been into fashion. I've always been that person that's in the store and, girl, I can sell you some stuff and I don't even work there. And people are like, do you work here? And I'm like, no, girl, but this is going to look cute on you. You need to buy it, okay? So I'm that person, and it's just like, one day I sat down and I'm like, I want to build an empire around the things that I love, the things that I enjoy. And I'm like, let's go. Check them off one by one. My passion has always been fashion. It's always been educating women to be the best. And it's just really around those things. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So I created Lux for Brunch, and it is the beat to my heart because one of the things that I struggled with was finding affordable fashion as a woman. And you know, these days, once you take a picture on Instagram, you don't want to wear it again. Nope. Because you've already posted it, right? So I wanted to team up with my friends, because my friends and I own this business together, so we can all work together. And I say this: if you're doing it by yourself, you won't go far. You may go fast, you won't go far, right? So I got my friends involved with this, and we wanted to create a brand that gave affordable fashion to women. And this is for women that have expensive tastes on a beer budget, and it still looks like that. And it's fun. We show them different ways that they can wear their clothing. We don't have many things that are even over $75, and we want to inspire and empower women to save their money and know that you don't have to wear expensive labels to look good. You can wear affordable clothes, and if you wear it a certain way, it looks expensive.
So you can ball on a budget.
Hello.
Absolutely. So now you're also a mother. How do you balance all this?
I drink red wine, easy.
And I see you got your energy.
And energy. So, you know, I'm not going to be that person that's like, man, you know, I have it all together. No. Sometimes I do go hide in the closet and lock the door, and then I see little fingers coming up underneath the bathroom door and all that stuff. So, like, that's my life. I was in my office last night, and my daughter is outside of my office like, let me in, you know? So you just kind of take it one day at a time. Motherhood is no joke. No joke. My oldest son is graduating from high school this year.
Wow.
I know. I feel like a grandma.
How are you
not even a
handling
grandma.
that?
I think that it's hitting me that life is short, but it's also empowering me to not take it for granted and not to settle in any area of my life, because it just goes by. And I feel like you live one life. So you have to do the things that you are passionate about. You have to make sure you are 110% happy in every area. And just watching the time fly by, that has empowered me to not settle.
So now moving forward, plans moving forward. I mean, is it just going to be Girl CEO and Lux for Brunch? What else you got popping?
You know, that's it. I would really say that's it, because I think that my ultimate goal is to dominate my lane. And I can't really dominate my lane if I'm all over the place. So right now, my goal is to make the biggest impact with these brands, especially with the Girl CEO brand, to empower women, to help them have that confidence in themselves, even outside of the workplace, in their homes, to feel secure, to not be ashamed of their struggles, their battles. I want this to be a global movement where we're giving women the tools and equipping them to go after every single thing they want to do. And that's my biggest mission right now. Not to go to the next thing, but globalize the current thing that I'm doing.
Okay, well, good luck with that. God bless you. Now, we have a list.
Okay.
A list of things that you would like to share to individuals that want to become entrepreneurs or people that are already in business. Some little success strategies.
Yes.
Some things that you've learned along the way.
Easy. You know, these are some of the things that I've just seen. And I feel like everyone who wants to start a business needs to know these things before they start. So my first thing is, don't quit your job so fast. Right now, on the internet, people are telling people, quit your job, be your own boss, put your back up against the wall. It'll happen. Sometimes you have to walk away and come out fighting. And I think that is a very irresponsible decision. My advice is don't quit your job. Work your job and use the income from your job to build and grow your business until your business can pay your bills and you have a savings and you have that income coming in consistently. So that's the first thing. Don't go out here and jump off the cliff and say, you know what, boss? Today's my last day.
And you know people that have done that too.
Yes.
And you shared a story, not without saying any names. Talk about what happened to that individual that just jumped out there like that.
You quit your job and then you're calling me like, can you move with me? It's not going to happen. Can I live in your basement? You know, can you help me pay my rent? It's like, guys, we have to make responsible decisions. And especially when you're a mom, especially when you have people depending on you, you have a family, don't do that to yourselves. But also don't do that to your siblings that you're going to call them up and expect for them to bail you out after God has blessed you.
Or your family or your friends.
Yeah.
Because I've received that phone call before too.
Yeah. God has blessed you with that job. And I think that's another thing we have to remember when we were in our cars praying for these jobs on the way to the interview. And it just amazes me how we see this vision in this business that we want. And we just forget that we pray for that. So God blessed you with the job and now you're going to get arrogant. You know, remember, you have to be thankful for the things that he blesses you with initially for him to bless you again. If you take those blessings for granted, how are you going to appreciate what's next? So keep that job, work it, monetize it, leverage it, invest, and grow your business on the side.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Number 2.
Second thing is get your business in front of as many people as possible. I think that social media is amazing, easy. I absolutely love it. But I think that it is literally getting people to a point where they're becoming lazy and dependent upon it because no one wants to go out and do belly to belly anymore. I don't see a lot of people in the parking lots passing out flyers and brochures. You don't see it anymore. The print shops, they're not there getting that marketing material made. And I think that we have to get back to that because people do miss that intimate relationship and being able to see people, touch people, feel people like this right here.
Right.
I want to get back to this because I think that is what built those big brands 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I want people to get out, do those events, set up vending tables. I don't see a lot of that anymore. Get on Craigslist, Eventbrite, see who's having events, call those people, ask them, can you set up a table to display your product or your service or your business or your brand and get it in front of as many people as possible. And last but not least, you know I said get away from the internet, but go live more. I think that people appreciate more raw, authentic content than scripted stuff. Be yourself. You know, if you're crazy, wild, fun, like be that person. That's how I am on my Instagram. And I think that people really, really, really come towards me because of that authenticity. So go live, show yourself, be yourself, and be that crazy person you are. And then last but not least, get your business set up and running right. This just because you have an Instagram page, Easy.
That's not enough.
That's not enough, Easy. It does not mean you own the name to that company. We have to do things right.
Right.
We think that if we set up Easy's Treesies on Instagram.
Wait a minute.
if we set that up on Instagram, we feel like we own that brand.
Right.
You don't own that. You don't have that trademark. You don't have that business set up. And what I want to encourage people to do is take the right legal steps so you can really own your business name, that you can really own that brand, and that you're doing things correct. Get that LLC set up. Do it the right way. And then last but not least, don't expect it to happen overnight. This is one of the biggest things, especially with millennials. Everyone is in this microwave world. Believe it or not, I've been an entrepreneur for 9 years. I am just starting to see a little success, and I'm calling this a little success, Easy. This didn't happen overnight. I had to get my car repoed. I had to get evicted. I had to lose some friends. I had to start over. I failed at a lot of stuff, and I had to do it again and again and again. And what happens is people see that starting over as failure. I now see the starting over as training, wisdom, knowledge, experience, and we have to know that this doesn't happen in 1 year or 2 years. Are you willing to give 12 years? Are you willing to give 10 years to see your vision come to light?
All right, there you go. It's all about outrunning that failure, right?
That's right.
Because it's going to happen.
That's right.
It is definitely going to happen. We're here with Ronnie Brown. She is a branding and marketing strategist. She is the owner and founder of Girl CEO and also Lux for Brunch as well. And give your website really quick. I don't think we've given that yet.
Perfect. So my personal website is ronnieb.com. And then we have imagirlceo.com for I'm a Girl CEO. And then we have luxforbrunch.com for Lux for Brunch.
And your social media is where?
My social media is Ronnie Brown, RONNE, Brown like the color.
Okay. And before we go, there was one more thing that we wanted to talk about, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to go ahead and speak on this important nugget that we haven't spoke on yet.
And before we close out, I just want to stress the importance of coming together and supporting one another. I see a lot of people complain about lack of support. And what I want to encourage each and every one of you all to do is ask yourselves, are you being that supportive person? Are you buying from your local or small businesses and be the change that you want to see in your community? What I started to do is I started to highlight other women-owned businesses that are in my area. And can I just stress that if someone is doing what you're doing easy, it doesn't mean that they're competition. It doesn't mean that they're a threat to you. Figure out how you all can come together, because you're going to be able to grow a bigger audience if you come together and you collaborate. And the people that vibe you are going to come to you, and the people that vibe the other person are going to come to the other person, but there's enough for everybody. So the support is needed, and if you feel like you're not getting enough support, it's because you're not giving enough. And I think that that is the solution that can definitely change the game. If we start doing more events like we did here together at Hall of Fame and doing the connect and bringing people out, that's going to change the game, because we're going to know each other. We're going to support each other. We're going to work together. And that is how you grow brands and you grow a community of people that have the same mission.
So how did you get to that point? Because did you learn the hard way, or is it something that was already instilled in you to,
if I
to help
could be
others?
honest with you, Easy, people ask me, how did you find your passion? I gave away free information all the time for years. And people would just come to me and say, what do you think I should do? How should I do this? And as I started to give them my ideas, they were working. And then they started telling other people about me. And this is what happens when it's not about the money. I have a passion for sitting down with people and teaching them how to build brands and showing them how to make things look good and put it out there on the internet. I have a passion for giving them ways to make money. That's what I love to do. I could sit around for hours. People come in and they meet me and they say, this is what I do. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you should be doing this. Okay, so you should be marketing like this. Here's some ways that you can monetize this. That's my passion. So I found out what I was passionate about via serving.
Right.
Serving. You will find out what you're good at when you start serving people and giving away tools that they find valuable. This is why I tell people, when you're on the internet, give people your goods. What do you have to offer other than a cute picture? Cute pictures are everywhere. What are you going to feed them today? I want to feed my community. The people that follow me, I want to give them tools. I want to give them wisdoms. I want to give them stories. I want to give them every single thing that I've used to get where I am. Then that's going to make me valuable. When you are great at what you're doing, you become so good that people feel like they need you. You need to put yourself in a position where you become an asset to other people.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Easy Street. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Street Report Podcast. You like that? There's more in store. Trust me, for the 2018 and beyond. By the way, I want to remind you to follow me on Twitter and the gram at Easy Street. Also at Sia Multimedia, my brand new company, where I'm creating digital ads for all platforms. You can find me at CYA Multimedia on the gram and Twitter. And also, of course, my website is EasyStreetShow.com. Keep that third eye open. One love. Peace.